Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah.
Jeff Cork, walk me through this. You went to New York City itself. You went to Rockstar's headquarters.
Yes.
What was that like?
The elevator is nice, and I got hustled into a demo room immediately.
Did you see any developers on the floor? Anything?
No, it was very early in the morning, and yeah, I was like a shameful secret, so they just wanted to kick me out and play the game.
Do you feel like you're in hallowed ground being in Rockstar? Is it like this is crazy that you're actually within this building here?
Not especially, and that's a discount Rockstar's too. I mean, it's a game studio. I mean, I'm always excited to be inside a game studio, just in general, yeah.
Okay, so Red Dead Redemption 2, sat you down. Was it the start of the game? What did you actually get to play here?
So I got to play, what I'm able to talk about now, are I got to play a couple of missions, and then cruise around the city called Valentine, and then ride a horse on the open plains for a period of time.
And
I'm so jealous.
I know, that's unbelievable. So you got to play a little bit more, but you can't talk about that yet.
That's correct.
Okay, so here's my read on the situation.
Yes.
You went into the internal Slack, because everyone was bugging you after you got to play this, and they said, Cork, how is it? How is it? How is it? Tell us everything. How is Red Dead Redemption 2? And you just made a little king emoji, I think, was your first response.
Yeah.
And no one knew what that meant. And then how did he follow it up, Bertz? I forget exactly how the chain
Well,
went.
I had my own conversation with him, so I don't know. I might be conflating, but he just assured me like what I want to happen with that game's happening with that game, which is Rockstar's rewriting how to do open worlds again.
Is that right?
It's the best.
It's the best. So
It's the best.
my read, I haven't talked to you about this yet.
Yes.
You're a very level-headed guy, and you came in, you're like, game of the year, potential contender here, looking good. You were that hot about it.
It was like the scene in a Western where the drunk is like thrown into the horse trough, and that drunk is Spider-Man, and Red Dead is just giving it a big horse trough swirly.
You said Kratos too, though. That's the crazy thing.
Yeah, it is the best.
God of War is amazing.
Yeah,
but
God of
look,
War
there's
is
a
really-
conversation I'm sure we'll have at the back half of the year.
Yeah.
Okay, what stood out? What was the biggest revelation?
What I love about it is just how all these crazy, intricate little parts all come together in a way that if you aren't keeping your eye out specifically for them, you may not notice. There's just a ton of interlocking systems, and everything comes together, and it's just absolutely beautiful.
So systems was the main thing.
Well, I think that it's such a difficult game to pull out of, and just other than just like, it's the freaking best. Like, it's everyone did the right thing by clearing the calendar. You do not want to have your game release around this because you're going to get freaking annihilated, because it's just your game looks like garbage compared to this game. I'm sorry.
Visually?
Yeah.
Like polish was
It is
already there for the
astonishing.
mission.
Like there was one sequence kind of like near the end where it's just like, hey, I'm just riding my horse around this plains, and it's like, wow, this looks absolutely incredible. And then it just started raining, and you're like, wow, this is really nice. And then kind of looked around, and I'm not one to usually gush about skyboxes, because that's kind of ho-hum stuff. I mean, yeah, it looks like the sky. I see that literally every day. But this one, it started raining. It was like this torrential downpour. I was like, wow, this looks really cool. But then whirling around, it wasn't just like in a lot of games where it's like, oh, it's raining outside, so the sky is gray. It was like, the sky is like black over here, and it's like really coming down. But if you look, there's like patches of blue sky. There's like a rainbow.
God rays coming through the clouds.
God rays
everything.
coming through the clouds. And when it was raining really hard, like Arthur's on the horse. He's like, the horse is kind of moving a little differently. He like pulls his hat down, and he's like bracing and hunches his shoulders. It just feels like he exists in this world in a way that you don't see in a lot of games.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
So, like another small details, like, and this is something that they've talked about a little bit. I think that people are probably like, well, whatever. You don't walk around with your complete arsenal on you. So you go to your horse. When you get off of your horse, you have to go to your saddlebag and get like your rifle or your bow or anything. It's like a subtle thing, but it makes you feel like you're not just this thing walking around that just happens to have access to everything. You have to like engage in the world in interesting little ways.
I love that. You know, the Metro games do that really well. Just these little subtle touches of realism that just make the world seem more lived in.
Absolutely. And then like if you're like shouldering your rifle though, and then you get off your horse, you still have the rifle on you. It's only when you put it down when you're on the horse that you have to get it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's absurd. Arthur Morgan, did you have a big takeaway from the character?
He reminds me a lot of kind of the like Josh Brolin's character in No Country for Old Men.
Ooh,
just kind of like that was the thing going into it. You're like, am I going to like this guy?
Yeah.
Because I don't know much about him, and he's cool. He's really
just kind
cool.
of quiet, soft-spoken, ain't no
Kind of
lobos.
quiet, funny, sarcastic, and I get to spend a little bit of time in camp also, and that's probably the biggest difference about this game too from Red Dead Redemption, the first one, is that you feel like you are a member of a community. You're not just John Marston, had a very solitary adventure for the most part, and the feeling was a lot different. Here you're engaging with other characters who you're friends with a lot of the time. So when I did a train heist, you're riding out with your friends and they're talking to you, and you feel like these relationships, these are people who've traveled together for a long time. Some of the people are really funny, but not in a lame
GTA way?
Not in a lame way.
Okay.
It's just, you just feel like I want to get to know these people. They're interesting. They don't feel as broadly written as maybe some of the stuff in the first Red Dead, as much as I liked it.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
It feels less jokey overall.
Yeah, it feels less jokey, as in get a load of this guy. By him existing, he is the joke.
Yes.
And instead, it's this guy's funny.
Did you see Marston? Was he in your posse here?
Yes,
What is that like?
I did see John Marston. You could tell that he and Arthur Morgan have history, and not in a great way. There's some friction between the two of them, and just kind of overall in camp, John Marston doesn't seem like someone that maybe. I think you as a player are probably a bigger fan of John Marston than the people that were in the gang with him.
That's
I like
awesome.
that too, because there's a nod to that. I just replayed Red Dead, and there's a scene when you're with Bill Williamson. He's like, Dutch never liked you. He thought you were dumb.
Oh,
So
really?
they're kind of building off those little tiny slivers we got.
Can you cite to anything specifically? Is it just kind of disinterest in John Marston?
Disinterest in a few cutting remarks, but they do work
That's
together.
so fun.
One of the interesting things about the game too is that you're given more. Kind of like in GTA 5, when you had the bigger heist moments,
Yeah.
you did planning and you made your choices ahead of time, right, for the most part. Here, when you do the train heist, for instance, your characters, your gang members that are with you will ask you hey, should I move ahead or do you want to take care of this guy? And you can kind of choose how you want things to play out. And for instance, in another mission where we're taking on a gang hideout, we're with John, and we tell him John's you want me to go ahead and take this guy up close, or should we take him at a distance? And I was like, you take care of him, John. And John just sneaks over to this guy who's sitting on a log and pulls the guy back and just stabs him in the chest a whole bunch. And Arthur's Jesus Christ.
Voice actor for John's the same?
I can't tell. I got to get confirmation on it. It sounds identical. If it is not him,
Okay.
it sounds like John Marston. So like I said, I need to get confirmation on that.
Yeah. Can you walk us through the train heist a little bit?
Yeah. It's interesting because when you first go there, you ride out, and the plan is you see the train kind of coming around the corner, and then there's a tunnel, and you're kind of standing on the hill that the tunnel is built into.
Okay.
You're looking down on it, and Bill Williamson, he's planting explosives. Because the thing is, they're going to blow the train before it enters the tunnel, and then take the money.
Is it at night?
It's during the day.
Okay.
So before it starts, though, everyone, including yourself, you have to manually put your bandana up.
Manually?
Yeah, so you
I'm
can
into
choose to
that.
ride like
Okay.
that or not. And then you go down there and you talk to Bill, and you're like, you need a hand, and then you can help him by taking this wire and unspooling the wire and connecting it to the detonator, and then you ride back up. And when the train comes, Bill Williamson's frantically hitting the detonator. It doesn't go off, and everyone immediately blames Bill Williamson and not you, the person that strung up the wire, which is great for you because you've got apparently a little more cachet within the gang. But so then they're like, oh crap, and so you jump on top of the train, though, on the other side of the tunnel as it passes through because you were unable to stop it there. And then it's just a matter of you and Ally, you're going through and kind of going through the train car, and you choose to let the other guy handle himself, or you want to take the lead. Work your way to the top, finally get the train to stop, and at that point, you're in the forest, and the train has stopped, and a bunch of people come out because they're this train was very well protected, which you didn't know.
Okay.
And one of the things that's also really nice about it is that the AI characters really handle themselves well. You could probably, if I'd wanted to, I probably could have sat there and they would have taken care of themselves.
Oh, weird. Okay.
Which a lot of games, they kind of I don't know if they're just a bad shot because they want you to feel like the hero. And I appreciated the fact that there were several times where I'm lining up a shot and then the guy would just be dead. Cool. My dudes are carrying their weight.
Yeah.
So they're the end part of that main shootout. The rest of the gang catches up on horseback and just annihilates everybody else. And then you get into the train, it's armored, but you everyone unloads on it to send them a message like, open up the freaking doors, and then you put dynamite on it and blast it open, and they come out. And then you've got a choice of like letting the survivors go or killing them. And I killed one of them, and then the other two ran away with different directions. And
Beep, beep, beep. Deadeye in combat?
Deadeye in combat. Yep.
Feels pretty close to the first one?
Yep.
Okay.
How do the guns feel in general? Is it more Max Payne-y, or is it pretty reminiscent of?
It's pretty reminiscent of Red Dead.
Okay.
The auto aim assist isn't quite as sticky as it was in the first game. But I don't know if that's something I can go into the settings and adjust or whatever. But and also I realized like, I should have. When you get better weapons, it's going to be a lot more satisfying as well. Because there were some times where I would shoot a guy 3 or 4 times, and he's still limping along. So you're like,
Were you able to play first person?
Yeah, you can play first person.
Wait, what?
Yeah, you can play first person.
Holy crap! How does that look? It's like the camera's in his head. Hang on.
Yeah.
Does it feel about the same quality as a GTA 5?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I found it by mistake when I was on horseback. I was just like, I'm gonna push this giant button and push the touchpad in.
Yeah.
And there it is.
Wow. I wonder. And you can play the entire game first person in theory. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. I had no idea.
Yeah, that's cool.
Any other big questions you feel like this cleared up that the Red Dead community's been wondering, Birds?
I want to know how the horses ride. I want to know, like, how do they feel different? Or is the AI better in them?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes to all. They because before I went on the trip, I played the first Red Dead Redemption for several hours just to get in that mindset again, and I'd forgotten like the horses are pretty okay in that game, but they're they're kind of a hassle at the same time. Like riding next to a person while they're talking, of which you do that a lot.
Yeah,
was kind of finicky at times. It's a lot better in Red Dead 2. Just horses in general feel like, again, they feel like they are active participants in the world.
Okay,
the way that they like handle terrain.
Are they better on those little gradients that sometimes you would have problems moving over?
Yeah. It was like there was nothing weird to report about it. Like typically, like you play an open world game, and you're like, oh yeah, I hit this rock that I couldn't pass, and it didn't seem like that should have blocked me, but it did. But then I moved around. There was nothing that stood out that way at all.
Okay. Soundtrack?
Soundtrack's great.
Different from the first though?
Yeah.
Okay.
Same composer.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I had no idea.
Yeah, and then something that's interesting, and I didn't get to see this play out though, is the morality system in general. They said that they wanted to do something a little less binary than in the first game. So there's some subtle changes that happen depending on if you're being an honorable character or being a scoundrel. Like the soundtrack will change too, like in
weird.
combat. So I guess it takes on a different tone, and your animations will change also. Like your facial animations, you might look meaner. And
That's
love it.
insane.
You're being a stinker.
Oh my god.
yeah, your posture will change as well.
Yeah.
I'm going full Man in Black. I'm just going for
The
it.
kill cams will change too. Like they're gorier if you're being a big
I love
stinker.
that.
Yeah.
The world itself. You mentioned you're in a town.
You went to Valentine,
Valentine.
which is kind of like your camp is set at this place called Horseshoe Outlook,
Okay.
and that's your base of operations for Dutch's gang, and it's close by to this like a farming or sheep town called Valentine,
Okay.
and it's fairly good size.
Did you get a look at the map? I mean, it's like I think I saw this, right? It's like kind of overlapping with the original map. So you go to Blackwater and stuff, but it's also a lot of new area. Is that how it lays out? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything stand out about Valentine or anything like that?
Just the level of fidelity for everything in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And when's it coming out again?
October
26th.
26th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be huge. I mean, we have to do a game club on it. It's
have
got to
to.
happen. We can't dodge this thing.
Yeah. And I went into this, like, I try to be fairly immune to hype and everything. It's like,
Yeah.
I adored Red Dead Redemption, but that was not a flawless game by any means. And especially going back to it, you're like, I don't remember, this characterization is kind of weird. And the elements of it kind of stuck out. I was like, oh, okay, this hasn't aged well. But for the most part, like, if you have not played Red Dead, it holds up very well still
Okay.
to
Yeah.
this day. But had concerns going into the second one. Like, I'm excited to play it, but, it has a lot of hype around it and a lot of expectations. They haven't shown a whole lot about it. They've shown some extensive trailers and some like informative videos, like here are the different systems. But playing it, it's like, oh, yeah, these guys are the best at what they do. Like in terms of just creating open worlds and everything.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I've
the
been
real
waiting
deal.
for this game since these new consoles came out, basically.
Yeah,
You
for
know,
sure.
like-
It
8
looks
years.
so good.
Oh God, this is exactly what I needed to hear. Like the last trailer upped my hype significantly from just kind of the vague story trailers before. But all right,
Yeah, because I went on a road trip too to the like Yellowstone and that part of the country, and
Yeah.
it was just like, oh yeah, this is exactly what this looks like.
good job, guys.
They're so good
You
at
made the stuff
nailing
look
that
like the stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like even going back to GTA 4, the most realistic New York I've ever been in. GTA 5, the most realistic Los Angeles area I've ever been in. You know, they not only nail the terrain and the look, but the vibe of the places.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I can't wait. Red Dead Redemption 2. Did you write more about it for the site? Can people find anything?
Yeah, there's going to be something on the site.
Okay. Look on the site, GameInformer.com. There'll be something really
that
cool.
one, yeah.
That was just a clip from a larger show called The Game Informer Show. You can find it on iTunes, Google Play, or GameInformer.com. We take the fun opportunities and exclusive information from Game Informer magazine and boil it into a show that airs every Thursday with exclusive cover story information, developer interviews, a lot of fun stuff. So come love games with us.